Point at a cup. Your dog looks at your finger, then at the cup, then back at you. It knows. Now try the same experiment with a chimpanzee, our closest living relative, sharing 98.7% of our DNA. The chimp stares at your finger. It has no idea what you're pointing at. This isn't a failure of intelligence. Chimpanzees can solve complex puzzles, use tools, and even plan for the future. But they can't do the simplest thing your dog does every day: understand what you mean when you point. The question is, why? In 1999, a young researcher named Hare was working at Emory University with the psychologist Michael Tomasello. They designed a simple test: hide food under one of two cups, point at the correct cup, and see if the animal could find it. Dogs passed effortlessly. Chimpanzees failed. Not occasionally, consistently. Despite years of training, chimps couldn't reliably follow a human point. This was strange. Chimpanzees are brilliant. They use stone tools to crack nuts. They learn sign language. They recognize themselves in mirrors. But they can't understand a human finger pointing at a cup. The answer, Hare argued, isn't about raw intelligence. It's about domestication. Dogs were domesticated from wolves between 27,000 and 40,000 years ago. The exact mechanism is still debated, but the leading theory is the self-domestication hypothesis. Wolves that were less fearful of humans scavenged near their camps. Over generations, the tamer wolves survived better. Humans didn't set out to breed dogs, dogs bred themselves, by being less afraid. The critical change wasn't behavioral. It was genetic. In 2017, a team led by vonHoldt at Princeton identified structural variants in dogs that match the genes responsible for Williams-Beuren syndrome in humans, a condition characterized by extreme friendliness, hypersociability, and an inability to feel stranger anxiety. Dogs carry these variants. Wolves don't. Dogs are literally genetically wired for excessive friendliness. But the pointing comprehension goes deeper than friendliness. In 2015, the evolutionary biologist Attila Andix at Ötvös Lorand University in Budapest scanned the brains of dogs and humans while they listened to vocalizations. He found that dogs process emotional sounds in the same brain regions that humans do. When a dog hears its owner laugh, the same neural pathways light up as when a human hears a friend laugh. This isn't learned. It's architectural. And then there's the oxytocin loop. In 2015, the researcher Miho Nagasawa at Asabu University in Japan discovered that when dogs and their owners gaze into each other's eyes, both experience a spike in oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds mothers to infants. Wolves don't trigger this loop. Even hand-raised wolves don't. The mutual gaze between dog and human is a biological conversation that evolved over thousands of years of cohabitation. So if dogs can do it and chimps can't, what does that tell us about intelligence? The answer is that intelligence isn't one thing. Chimpanzees excel at physical cognition, understanding cause and effect, manipulating objects, solving spatial puzzles. But they struggle with social cognition, reading intentions, understanding gestures, following gaze. Dogs are the opposite. They're mediocre at physical tasks but extraordinary at social ones. This division was demonstrated beautifully in a 2003 experiment by Hare and his colleagues. They gave both dogs and chimps a puzzle box that required pulling a rope to open. The chimps solved it quickly. The dogs couldn't figure it out. But when the dogs were stuck, they did something chimps never do: they looked up at the nearest human. They sought help. Chimps, even when failing, just kept trying harder. This is the key difference. Wolves, when faced with an unsolvable problem, try to solve it themselves. Dogs, when faced with the same problem, look to humans. Domestication didn't just make dogs friendlier. It rewired their problem-solving strategy from try harder to ask the human. And this has real consequences. In 2008, Hare published a study showing that dogs who stared at humans when stuck were adopted faster from shelters. That helpless look, the upward gaze, the tilted head, isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sophisticated social strategy that humans find irresistible. The philosopher David Hume might have put it simply: dogs don't understand what we say. They understand what we mean. And that distinction, between language and intention, may be the most important cognitive leap in the history of our species. So what does a dog's pointing comprehension tell us about ourselves? It tells us that the most important human skill isn't language, tool use, or abstract reasoning. It's the ability to understand what someone else is thinking. Psychologists call this theory of mind the capacity to attribute mental states to others. Dogs have a version of it. Chimps don't. And it's this capacity that made human civilization possible. We didn't build cities because we're strong or fast. We built them because we could coordinate, cooperate, and communicate intent. The ability to follow a point, to understand that a finger means look there, is the foundation of teaching, storytelling, religion, law, and every other social institution. Brian Hare put it this way: dogs are the only species that has been domesticated by another species. And in doing so, they became the first to truly understand us. Your dog doesn't just hear your voice. It reads your face. It follows your gaze. It understands your gestures. And when you point at a cup, it doesn't see a finger. It sees a meaning. That meaning is something chimpanzees, for all their intelligence, will never grasp. The real question isn't why dogs understand pointing. It's what it means that an animal we chose to live with 40,000 years ago can do something our closest relatives cannot. Perhaps the answer is that domestication didn't just change dogs. It changed us too.